Hello everyone, welcome to the Weekly Sting, the first edition here at Lynchburg College. I'm Joe Hutzler, the voice of the Hornets with you. Before we get to our guests, let's talk about what happened yesterday in Hornet Nation. First, a recap of what we were able to see. The field hockey team, number 11 in the country, a 4-0 win over Ferrum College. Catherine Rogerson with 2 goals to help the Hornets in that one. The volleyball team was on the road at Eastern Mennonite. They took care of the Royals 3-1. Kelly Lane, a senior, had 14 kills. And the men's soccer team was down the road in Roanoke. A tough defensive battle saw them lose 1-0 to the Maroons. They did outshoot Roanoke 9-5. Now let's get to the most important part, and that is talking to our first guest, the women's soccer head coach Todd Olsen. Coach Olsen, thanks for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Good to be here.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, sort of. Let's talk about the game on Sunday at CNU, a 3-2 loss in overtime. A game in which, from a lot of our perspectives, didn't look like a true women's soccer.
What was your overall feel of that game? I mean, I thought we played really well, actually. I thought I loved the intensity. It was interesting. The referee on the side said she'd done a lot of games. She had her little measuring device how far she was going. She had traveled over 4.5 miles. Because the game was just so back and forth. And she said any other place she ever sees that Division I men's game. And so it was just a really exciting, awesome college soccer game. It's sort of what you want. You know, we got exposed. I thought I did a poor job coaching, my worst jobs in a long time, and we just didn't have an answer for one of their players, and we tried a couple of different things, and I'd argue we weren't prepared. And sometimes, you know, we've won a lot of games in the last couple of years, and in our arrogance, we always feel sort of like, well, you've got to come beat us. And this was a case where they had an answer for how we play, and I think in the end, you know, you hate to lose, right? More me than most people. But in this case, I think it was one of the best losses we've ever had, because we got exposed, we realized we have some weaknesses, and we've been talking to the team periodically about, hey, these are some things that we need to work on, but it's hard to sell that whenever we keep winning.
Right.
And they say, well, coach, you know, we keep winning. And so this loss, I think, will be one of the best things that could have happened to us. We had an amazing week of practice. We were working on some of the things. We watched the film. We got to finally see what we've been trying to describe to them. And with this, they just came out and they played better. And I think we're gonna benefit from this way more than than what the loss is going to do for us.
The practice, you know, some people would think the next day might have been a really tough practice. I saw a little bit of it, and the girls were actually pretty loose. Was that, you know, something you wanted to happen? Yeah,
I mean, we think that, you know, we don't want to take ourselves too seriously. You know, we want to play mainly because we just love to play soccer. We love to be part of a team. And that was just a great soccer game. I'm not angry that we lost in any way. It wasn't anything that they did. You know, it was things that we can do as a team to be better. And certainly as a coaching staff, we need to do better. And that'll help us as we head in. You know, and so that we just talked to them about, hey, this is an opportunity to get better. And, you know, now we just got to get hungrier. And I think sometimes, you know, when you reach the pinnacle, the challenge, and we've been the target for so long, sometimes the challenge is like, how do you get them motivated to the next game? And for CNU, that game was pretty big. You know, it was so big that at the end of the game, their men ran out in the field, and there's a big dog pile for a non-conference regular season game. And we started to realize like how big these games are to them. It was the first time I could really show the team, because we haven't lost. And now we said, wow, this is how big this game is to other people. For us, it was just a game. We were going down to CNU, trying to get a little bit better in preparation for the ODAC championship. But we got to see how these teams see us and what it means when you beat us. And I think that makes us hungry.
Let's take a bit of a twist here and go a different direction. Let's talk about stuff outside of soccer. And there's a little bit of soccer into it, but you're someone that travels to Africa every year, and you bring the soccer world to women who don't get to experience that. What is the main point behind taking those trips and then taking your players with you?
Well, the main point is that we've been given amazing gifts, you know, and I've been gifted in my life with a lot of different things. You know, I have some good experiences. I've been able to travel around the world. You know, I have some soccer background, and I'm an epidemiologist, so I have a strong background in public health. And that combination of things just sort of made a perfect marriage for me to go do this. And it's a chance for me to give back. You know, I really have fallen in love with the people of Africa. And we say all the time that, you know, Africa doesn't need me, I need Africa. And it's just true. I go back there and it reinvigorates me every year. It gives me energy. And now that I can share that with some of the people from our team, some of the people from this college, it's pretty extraordinary, because it's truly life impacting. It changes their lives when they go there, when they're able to truly serve. And You truly give it yourself for someone else, and it feels pretty good.
What do the girls come back and when the season starts? Do they take anything from those trips? Have they told you what they bring back from those?
Well, some of they just realize how lucky we are. We just have these amazing facilities, and we'll go there and play on a field where there's not a blade of grass, and you're dodging glass and rocks, and you'll have a ball that won't survive a game because it shreds because of the environment. And then we'll come and go to our practice fields and complain because the grass is too hot. And you stop seeing that. You start seeing people start to appreciate more of who we are. And then to me it takes away some of the pressure of having to win, because we feel like we've won way before we step on the field with some of our service activities that, whatever the season, as far as wins and losses, however it transpires, it pales in comparison to the changes and the effect that we're having on people around the world. It's really, we're giving them water and we're giving them hope, and that's pretty significant compared to winning a championship. We certainly want to do that, but in the big picture, it's not such a big deal.
Right. Last thing I want to get to is talk about this year's team compared to last year's, and maybe you're this far into the season already. What's something that is a favorite part of yours, on this team, or a difference from this year to last year that you point out?
Well, it's interesting. Last year's team, we won pretty easily. We had 2 All-Americans. We had a National Player of the Year. When we went into games, we knew we were going to score a lot of goals. And this year it's been fun because now we have to work. And we've had a lot of 0-0 halftimes, and I go into those huddles and I'm sort of excited. It's not that we're angry, because we knew we were going to have to work to get these goals. When you graduate All-American, those are really tough to replace. And so this was just exciting. And this team, what's great is their growth, and they're starting to buy into who they are. They're starting to realize that they don't need that National Player of the Year. They don't need that All-American, but collectively, if we work really hard together, we're going to be great. We've scored a lot of goals from a lot of different people, where last year we just sort of relied on 2 players, and this year we have to rely on every member of the team. And what I love is they're starting to recognize that and realize the strength of the chain, as opposed to the strength of an individual, and that's been significant. That's been fun to watch.
A big change, but a good change.
It's been a good change.
For sure for you. Well, Coach Olsen, thank you so much for your time joining us. And their next game will be this Friday at 7 o'clock at Shenandoah University. So wish you the best against the other Hornets team. And thanks for joining us here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks.
When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Enza Steele of the field hockey team here on the Weekly Sting. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. It's the Weekly Sting here on Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. I'm Joe Hutzler, and before we get to our next guest, let's look at our Hornet trivia for the week. This week we ask, how many consecutive ODAC championships have the field hockey team won? We will have the answer to that in the next segment, so make sure you stick around for the third and final segment to find out the answer. Now, speaking of field hockey, let's talk to our next guest, the head coach of the field hockey team, Enza Steele. Coach Steele, nice to have you on the show.
Good afternoon.
We appreciate you coming by, and of course it's probably a good day for you. You got a nice 4-0 win last night against Ferrum. 2 goals from your senior, Catherine Rogerson. Talk about that game. Talk about some things that you learned from the 2-1 loss on Monday that helped you last night against the Ferrum College.
The one thing about Ferrum College is we played on grass for the first time all season, and it took us a little bit to get our footing going. And the ball moves slower, so we were more concerned about positioning. And I think in the second half we felt a lot calmer and we had more scoring going on. I played everyone in the game. We have 25 players, all 25 got to play. So that was a huge plus for us to be able to see some of our, second and third string going in under pressure and how they perform in games, not just practices.
That same kind of situation played out a little bit last week against Virginia Wesleyan. You put more of your bench players in. What's the biggest benefit for you as a coach when you're able to see the younger players get action in conference play and then even last night in non-conference?
Well, I think one of the key thing is some people are game players. You know, they're average in practice, nothing exciting about them, and you're like, a minute here, a minute there, and then all of a sudden you give them an opportunity and they explode. And then you have the opposite. You have some people that are excellent in practice and they're really not game players. So I think you need to see everybody in a competitive setting in order to make a good choice on who are your best athletes to be out there.
This far in the season, you've seen a lot, obviously, with your team, ups and downs, of course. Could you, in a short summary, could you best describe this team so far this year from your point of view?
Well, surprisingly great, you know. I thought we'd have a good season. I didn't expect us to have a great season. You know, beating CNU, beating Mary Washington, those were all really, you know, big highlights for us. Beating Laval, those were key games. And then our Salisbury game, 2-1. And we actually dominated the second half. We did some great things. I thought we were going to tie it up a couple times in the last 10 minutes. It didn't happen for us, but I mean, what I told my kids, if they're ranked number 5 in the country, we're number 6. That's how close that game was. So I think the team saw their potential up here, and we need to strive to play at that level all the time from here on in.
Is that a game in which, even in a loss, the team and the coaching staff sees all the good things, like you just mentioned? We lost, but we did a really, really good job.
But you have to. I mean, you know, when you're playing teams in the top 10, somebody's going to lose. And you need to learn from it and take whatever you can and get yourself prepared for another opportunity to meet those people, especially in postseason play.
Your offense is obviously doing very well, but the defense is very strong as well for your squad. A .35 goals against average, 10 shutouts for Becca Hess and the squad. Has there been any surprises defensively, or is this what you expected from the team?
Well, we moved one of our midfielders to our center back position, and we have 2 sophomores and a senior in our back defense, and our goalkeeper's a junior. So I think for relatively a young group back there, we've got a lot of talent. We're doing a lot of great things. They communicate well. Are they playing at their best game? Not yet. And I think we're going to see more and more great things from them.
Let's talk about the next game, Saturday against Shenandoah up at in Winchester. This is a huge game overall, just because it's an ODAC game. But you throw in the potential tiebreaker that could happen afterwards. If you guys beat them, there's a 3-way tie at the top of the ODAC. Can you explain to me and everybody else what the tiebreaker rules would be if you would win?
Well, right now, if we beat them, it's a 3-way tie for first. But there's still a lot of games to be played.
Right.
Neither one of those teams has played Bridgewater yet. And I think Bridgewater is, in the top 4. So we could see a lot of things happening. But if we win on Saturday and everyone wins the rest of their games here on into the conference, it's going to be a goal differential between the 3 of us. So it's goals scored and goals against, and then you just have, your average there, and whoever has the highest average is the number 1 seed for the conference tournament.
Is that the goal differential? Is that in just the games you all play each other, or is that overall?
First round is what you play each other.
Okay.
And then against everybody else in the conference would be second, and the third would be a coin flip, which is really... It's not actually a coin flip. Everybody's given a lottery number before the season begins in August. Every team that we have at Lynchburg College has a lottery number, so if there's ever a tie and it has to go to the lottery, it's already predetermined in August.
Well, we were learning a lot here on the weekly sting, because I've heard so many different things this week. I didn't know which one was true, but now we got it from a source. We know exactly how things are going to go. So basically, let's just beat Shenandoah, and then Bridgewater can beat somebody else.
Let's beat them big.
Right, beat them big, get that goal differential up there so we can win no matter what. Next thing I want to ask, we got a few minutes left. Your slogan this year is "Be Phenomenal" for the squad. You've already talked about the surprises you've had, from the team, but from your point of view, what does "Be Phenomenal" mean? What do they have to do to be phenomenal besides win games?
I think being phenomenal, one, is a state of mind. How do you believe in your abilities? Do you believe that your ability can be taken to a new level? And to be phenomenal, you can't be an average player. You have to be a great player. And taking every day that you play hockey to become better and better to be that great player. And that's how you become phenomenal. And then the other component in being phenomenal is team chemistry. You know, how well does your group gel? And right now we're doing a great job of that. Team chemistry is high. It's better than it has been in about 3 years, so
wow.
We're real excited about that.
And you're able to say that with a pretty young group too, which says a lot as well.
Absolutely.
What has it been like to have, real quick, to have the coaching staff that you have? Because that gets lost in the fold, but having Ashley Kistner back and bringing in someone like Jenny Smith from Michigan State, what's that been like for you this year?
Heaven. Yeah, I think a huge difference in the chemistry of our coaching staff, and they both do a great job, and I'm just really excited they're with me.
Well, I'm really excited about this Saturday's game. I know you are as well, and we hope things pan out well for you the rest of the year, and mainly against the other Hornets team, Shenandoah, on Saturday. Thanks so much for coming by.
Thank
and
you,
being
my
a part
pleasure.
Of the show. When we come back, we will hear from the senior midfielder, number 10, Earl Rimbey, and talk about an injury he suffered a few weeks ago. And then, of course, we will also get you the answer to the trivia question, and we will tell you what's coming up this weekend in the world of Hornet Nation sports. It's all happening in Winchester, Virginia this weekend, folks. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the Weekly Sting, everyone. Joe Hutzler here with you, and now it's time to see the answer to the Hornet Trivia. And of course, we asked you in the last segment, how many consecutive ODAC championships have the field hockey team won? The answer is 9. From 2007 until last year, no one else has won an ODAC championship in field hockey. It's been all the Hornets, going for, of course, their 10th this year, this season in 2015. Now, real quick, before we get to our last guest, let's look at the upcoming schedule. And a lot of games in Shenandoah University in Winchester, Virginia. Women's soccer will be there on Friday at 7 o'clock. Then the field hockey team will be there at 1 o'clock on Saturday. And the men's soccer team will be there at 4 p.m. on Saturday to take on the other Hornets in the conference of Shenandoah University. Speaking of the men's soccer team, I'm joined now by senior midfielder number 10, Earl Rimbey. Earl, thanks for stepping on the show here. And first things first, how you feeling?
Feeling a lot better than when I came off the field last week. So.
Last week, for those that don't know, against Washington and Lee, Earl got hit pretty hard in the noggin. Both you and the defender went up for the ball, and you came down. And I talked to you a little bit about it yesterday. Were you out before you hit the ground?
Yeah. I actually don't remember being hit or hitting the ground. I was out when I was hit. I watched the video myself and witnessed that happen. I don't remember anything between us scoring the first goal and then waking up on the field being supported by our athletic trainer.
Wow.
So
that's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
To think about that. Well, we were really happy to see you actually move, because there for a while you were very still and we didn't know what was going on. I did talk to some of the trainers and the head strength and conditioning coach. They said you did try to get up at some point. You don't remember that?
I do not remember that. I actually talked to Coach Ed Smith about it, and he was like, it was a fight or flight kind of response from my body. I don't remember it or remember being active at the time, but he's like, you had to get up and play or you had to get out of there.
Right.
The body was trying to protect you. So
you got on the ambulance, went to the hospital, and you were able to watch the game from the hospital, which thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could bring that to you on LHSN. But when you were at the hospital, how did you feel at that point? Because you were only about 20-30 minutes removed from what had happened.
When I was at the hospital, I felt fine laying down. They put me in a neck brace as a precaution. My head didn't hurt. I wasn't nauseous. I was awake. I was alert. I felt fine.
Okay.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched the game, the rest of it. Disappointing ending, but felt good. It was a little weird walking at first. But.
I'm sure it was. Now, some people don't know the ins and outs of concussion protocol or how you get diagnosed with concussion. First things first, when were you diagnosed with a concussion, and what are you doing now to get yourself back?
So I was first diagnosed when I went to the ER. They did a CT scan on my brain and my neck. Both those came out fine, thankfully. But they diagnosed me with concussion because I had memory loss and I was knocked out for a period of time, which usually are two very good signs of having brain damage, if not significant, some. But the protocol is you have a 6-day progression. First begins, you have your first day with no symptoms, complete rest. Then you start doing light cardio or technical work, ball in my case. Then you get cleared by the doctor for practice, first non-contact, then contact, and then you can get cleared for the game.
The whole thing. And unfortunately, this is not one of those by the book coming back kind of rehab things. You know, you have to be cleared each time you go. And you were telling me before the show, you actually went yesterday and did not clear you. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I went yesterday for my first checkup with the doctor, and I felt fine. I felt great. I thought I was going to get cleared to play this weekend against Shenandoah, but he did some tests and thought otherwise. I guess better to be safe than sorry.
It is. That's true. But the good thing is we got a little bit of time before the playoffs start. So at least you'll be back for that hopefully in your senior year. Let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about the team overall, the men's soccer team. A pretty disappointing October for them so far. They have 2.1 goals per game average overall in the season, 2.87 in September, 0.83 in October. You guys aren't scoring goals, and you're just not getting the offense going. Is there anything attributing to that now that we got into October?
Most of it can be just heavy legs. We've played a lot of overtime games, had a lot of tough practices, and I think guys are getting tired. They've hit a little dip in form recently, and it's hard to come back from losing your confidence. Mm-hmm. You got to get that first goal in for a lot of our forwards, and they're struggling right now. So we just got to see that hit the target again.
Yeah, so definitely have to start doing that. What is a good thing that can come out of these kind of struggles for you guys?
The good thing is you can only go up. You can only make yourself stronger from this. If you hit a low point in the season, you can only go up. You can only get better. And that would make us stronger as a team, as definitely individuals going into the playoffs in the ODEX. So.
Well, we certainly wish you the best. Wish you guys the best. Unfortunately, I can't wish you the best.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the game goes, on Saturday against Shenandoah, there's a kind of a interesting thing about you, and obviously some people know, or if you don't know, his brother Grayson is also on the team as a freshman, so you've got that connection. But I just found out last week that your dad works here as well in the athletic training department. When did that happen, and what is that like?
So he was unhappy in the high school I went to. He was unhappy there. He'd been there for a while and wanted to move on. So he'd been looking for a job this past summer, and he got a call from OCCVA here in town, a clinic for a job offer. And part of the deal was he'd work there in the mornings and at Lynchburg College in the afternoons to help with women's volleyball and women's lacrosse teams. And he snapped at the opportunity. This is where he got his degree originally. I grew up here, and he was more than excited to come back.
So to you, it's not really, because you said he was at your high school as well. Mm-hmm. This is just normal day life for Earl Rimbey?
Yeah, the Rimbeys have always been together wherever we are. So yeah, I went to high school with my brother while my dad was there, and now I'm going to college with my brother while my dad is there. So
it's just, it has to happen, right?
It has to happen.
It has to be that way. Tell me about, we got about a minute to go, tell me about the notion of family and why you guys just kept going. Everybody comes to the same school, nobody tries to go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. My mother comes from a very tight-knit family. They all live in the same area still. Her 3 sisters, her parents' parents, all from the same area. And my dad and my mom met here in Lynchburg. And so I think that family value has been instilled from my mom's side, most importantly.
Yeah, well, you can't argue with that. I mean, the actions speak for themselves with everybody continuing. Anybody else maybe coming after Grayson?
No, just
Okay.
me and Grayson.
Okay, all right. Just so everybody is warned, there won't be any more Rimbeys. Okay, it's gonna after Grayson, it's over. Well, Earl, thank you so much for coming on, man. Wish you the best of luck
No problem.
in
Thank
getting
you.
back on the field, and wish the best of the team on Saturday as well. Remember, 3 games this weekend featuring our Hornets and the Shenandoah Hornets. Friday it'll be women's soccer at 7 p.m. and then 1 o'clock Saturday for field hockey. 4 o'clock for men's soccer on Saturday as well. Thanks so much to all of our guests for being on the show, and we'll be back next week on the Weekly Sting here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.